Well, the question was whether to create a commentary. I decided to do this video as a speed draw, speed paint, whatever you want to say, and just because it was really long. So this is the shot that I believe the most recent YouTube video was creating the pencil test. So this was really the ink and paint process. So I don't know if a lot of commentary is really needed here, but you can see there I'm trying to be fairly meticulous about keeping things balanced and symmetrical and that sort of thing. But for the most part, this scene was a straightforward ink and paint job. You'll notice that on the ink, I am trying to put a little bit more character into the lines by using a little bit of pressure sensitivity. There's that matter of making sure things are more symmetrical. So this is the shot where Akari she's been grabbed by the ninja who's dressed in black. Looks kind of like Spider-Man. And she's struggling. And then out of the blue, somebody comes up behind these two guys, grabs their skulls, and smashes them together like a couple coconuts and knocks them cold. And if you are enjoying this, then definitely check out the next video I'm going to post, because that's also going to be a speed draw situation, but it's the pencil test done in Blender 2.8 grease pencil for the next scene. And I really I feel like the characterization and the acting are both improving quite a lot. So here what I did was I just drew him once, and then I used the animate tool to move him. But in the opentoonz preferences, I believe in the animation tab, and I'm actually looking at opentoonz right now to make sure I don't tell you wrong. You go into your preferences, and in the animation tab, yes, you set your animation steps. And what I did was I set it to 3, which means that no matter how I move things around with the animate tool, it's only going to actually move them every 3rd frame. So it basically effectively takes any continuous interpolated animation and puts it on 3s, which is kind of, the anime standard, you might say. So, okay, so I was just jumping away, and you'll notice that I'm creating a lot of blobby shapes here for Zen, and that's because they're behind the other characters, so they just don't matter. So why am I gonna knock myself out drawing a bunch of stuff that you literally can't see? I think I made a correction though on his left arm, because obviously his left arm there is too big. Sometimes what happens is if you zoom in, you can, see there, I resized it. You zoom in and you can sort of massage the details quite nicely, but then you zoom out and realize that you kind of got the scale wrong, So here another thing I decided to do was just take his fingers, put them on a completely separate layer, and then just animate that over top, because you have a classic animation problem, which is Zen's character is both in front of and behind these other two characters at the same time. So what do you do with that? In this case, I actually blew it though, because I should have put each hand on its own level, because then I could have used the animate tool to move them. I ultimately wound up using individual drawings, but I want to bring up something that can go wrong if you do that. Just be warned. If you set your interpolation, let's say like I did, you set your interpolation on 3s, okay? So now, if I were to animate those hands over top of the heads of the characters, the two ninjas, and remember, they were animated with additional drawing. So each time they move, it's actually a different drawing. So now the problem you can run into is you animate something over top of another level that's using frame-by-frame animation. If the timing of that interpolation on threes that opentoonz does for you does not coincide perfectly with the frame-by-frame movement of the characters, in this case the ninjas, then what would happen is the ninjas would move, but maybe one frame later Zen's hand would move. So there is that risk I've bumped into a few times of trying to combine frame-by-frame animation with what you might call computer interpolated animation. Frankly, it's a problem you run into if you try to use the Blender grease pencil kind of from a rigging paradigm where your idea is to create a bunch of individual layers of stuff, and you can do this obviously in opentoonz too, but you create a bunch of layers of stuff, and on some of the layers things are being changed because you're actually doing frame by frame animation by drawing new drawings with the grease pencil. What you find, it's one of the things that can cause you to gravitate to saying, screw it, I'm just going to do frame by frame animation, is what you find is half your time is spent managing the fact that the interpolated keys and the way things move aren't actually matching up well to the frame by frame animation that's either underneath it or over top of it. See, like what you see right here with his hands. Just imagine if the guy's heads but his hands didn't move at the same time. Now there is another solution that if I would have used my brain, you're probably sitting there screaming at the screen right now going, well, Dave, why didn't you just take the drawing of the guy's heads being smashed and put the hands in those drawings of their heads? And the reason is, it's okay, that would be a great strategy when their heads are moving, but once they actually smash together, every single drawing is a different one, so I would have had to cut and paste the fingers into each of those frames and that sort of thing. So I think here I transitioned to another session where I was actually doing the paint job. Probably one of the most complex things about this shot, because there really are several key layers. By the way, what was that red? A lot of times I'll make a color red. Since you can change the colors after the fact, a lot of times I'll make it red so I can see what I'm doing as far as getting it painted in, and then do what I did right there, which is just change the color after the fact. So I won't say too much more because we're coming up on the end here. And then the last thing we'll see in this video is the actual shot being cut into the show. So here's the show playing back, and our new scene is coming up here in half a second.